Are you ready to transform your summer into an epic splash-tastic adventure? Say goodbye to wasteful, single-use water balloons and hello to the ultimate in reusable, eco-friendly fun with reusable water balloons. Check out the link in the video description to get yours on Amazon today.
Sir Keir Starmer will start the process to renegotiate Britain's post-Brexit deal within weeks, the Mail on Sunday has been told. The new Prime Minister wants more relaxed freedom of movement rules and lower trade barriers, EU sources believe, and is willing to sign the UK back up to some Brussels rules in exchange. They are expecting him to use a summit at Winston Churchill's birthplace, Blenheim Palace, later this month to unofficially set the wheels in motion. But Boris Johnson last night sounded the alarm about any renegotiation, warning, "We are on the road to serfdom under Starmer." And his Brexit negotiator Lord Frost said Labour would take every chance to chip away at our national independence. Sir Keir will host nearly 50 leaders from across Europe at Blenheim on July 18, and is expected to seize the chance to lobby France, Germany and other powerful EU countries in private. Sources expect him to seek the removal of trade barriers in exchange for dynamic alignment, Brussels jargon for being subject to EU red tape. Labour last night insisted the issue was not on the agenda, but Sir Keir has previously promised a much better trade deal with Brussels than the 5-year agreement Mr. Johnson signed in 2020. Analysis by Mick Hume, political commentator. Is Sir Keir Starmer aiming to set a record for the fastest betrayal of an election pledge? It appears that this former champion of a second Brexit referendum is making discreet plans to take the knee to the EU. It is a piecemeal process of selling out Brexit by stealth. What an insult to the memory of Sir Winston Churchill for his family's ancestral home to host an event that Brussels hopes will bring Britain back into its regulatory orbit. And how cheated will the Leave voting red wall feel? Number 10 and Brussels will insist negotiations have nothing to do with rejoining the EU. Any changes to border rules would, for example, be limited to specific groups, perhaps the young or Britons wishing to take their dog on holiday. But this is the thin end of the wedge. Any changes to migration and travel arrangements that the EU agrees, however harmless they might seem, would inevitably take Britain closer to obeying Brussels rules. We would become rule takers, not rule makers. Starmer might also claim that he wants a deal to return illegals who cross the Channel. But does anyone think that would be possible without the UK having to accept an EU quota of migrants picked up in the Med, as already imposed on other member states? The 17 million who voted Leave may soon have something to say about any Starmer capitulation to the continent that would make Churchill spin in his grave. The EU sources expect the new deal to cover agriculture, chemicals, consumer goods, airlines, cars and pharmaceuticals. They also think the UK will ask for a relaxation of freedom of movement rules for certain sectors such as the music industry, and that in return the UK would have to agree to be bound by some EU red tape again. Lord Frost said, "Whatever Labour may have said before the election, we can expect them now to take every opportunity to start chipping away at our national independence. Whether it's on the formal agenda or not, every meeting with the French, Germans, and EU Commission will be conducted with this in mind. If they now want a deal involving dynamic alignment, they will have to pay the price of subordination to the EU's laws and the EU's court. But that's not what the British people voted for in 2016, and if Labour start going back on Brexit, they will pay a political price." On Friday, Sir Keir told European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen that he wanted close cooperation with the bloc. Yesterday he told German Chancellor Olaf Scholz he wanted greater economic cooperation, and a call with embattled French President Emmanuel Macron covered shared priorities, including migration and the economy. News of the Brexit renegotiation plans came as the European Political Community Summit at Blenheim, Oxfordshire, was originally put in the diary under Rishi Sunak's premiership to discuss the future of the continent. But a Brussels source said, "We expect this to be the moment at which Starmer unofficially sets out his offer on trade to the big EU players. The so-called trade and cooperation agreement that Mr. Johnson signed will be reviewed in